Welcome, pastors, ministry leaders, professional leaders, to this week's Marry the Vision email and VMail. Which is video email. I'm so grateful that you've joined us. My commitment is to share things that are going to help you grow in your relationship with Jesus Christ, help you grow your ministry, and ultimately help increase the impact of your touch and reach in the sphere of influence that the Lord has given to you, because that's what Marry the Vision is all about. Marry Christ's vision, His call on your life. He has asked you to do something. And in order to increase your impact, you've got to grow in your knowledge of Him. Not grow your skills to be able to communicate, to lead more effectively, to love more effectively. See, that's what it requires, which is why today I want to talk to you about growth equates to impact. Because what we're doing is we are unpacking growth plans that will work. Why do I know they'll work? Notice Proverbs 24, verses 3 and 4. It's God's word. Any enterprise, that means whatever endeavor you're setting your hand to right now, your church growth, maybe a department in the church, you run business or multiple businesses and you want to see them grow and expand, you could put that, whatever that is, any enterprise, notice, is built. How? By wise planning. Becomes strong through common sense, and it profits wonderfully by keeping abreast of the facts. We also look at Psalm 119, verse 32, because David said, I will run the course of your commandments, God, for you shall enlarge my heart. In other words, David was aware, in order for me to be able to fulfill your word, what you've called me to run the commandments that you've set out, in order for me to do that, I need you to enlarge my heart. Why is that? Because your heart is ground. It's like the ground that's being tilled when you sow things into it. If you only have a little ground and pack a lot of seed in there, you won't get a good return. You got to enlarge the land in order to receive the seed that is packed in there. God wants to enlarge our heart because He has more to say to us. We have more to learn. So what I want to do today is talk about some significant thoughts on the value of growth. On the value of personal growth, relational growth, spiritual growth, whatever growth, it will fit into there. These are significant thoughts. Number one, people are the world's most valuable resource. God made it that way. God made it that way. Every human that's born is gifted by God. Every human that's born has something for them to contribute to better life. Think about every wonderful contribution that has ever enhanced life has come through a person, whether it was a book that somebody read, a movie that they saw, a conversation that was had. I mean, any wonderful contribution has come through a human that has enhanced life. You see, experiment. We've got to be able to do that. Experiment on the talents of people, right? Like, we all have talents, so what do we got to do with them? We got to experiment. That's how they grow. Like, you don't just start out like when you want to learn how to play a guitar and all of a sudden you're a master at it the first time you pick it up. It doesn't happen that way. You got to experiment with it. You got to engage with it. And when you do, the talent grows, your knowledge grows, your skill grows. And what ends up happening? Now you offer that as a contribution to society that enhances life. I mean, think about it. When I mention the word names, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, what do you think? Right? Software, computers. If I were to say Elon Musk, oh my gosh, what entrepreneur. Okay, John Grisham, J.K. Rowling. You go, authors, books, films. Well, if I were to mention like the Beatles, Taylor Swift. I mean, these are musicians. You may not like them. I'm just saying they have enhanced people's world because of the development of a skill that they have. Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Caitlin Clark. What are they? These are sports figures, but what have they done? They've brought so much joy and excitement and enhancement in their fields. How about this? Billy Graham, Mother Teresa. These are people who have experienced Christ, and they seek to share His word and His love to the people in their sphere of influence. How about you? When we think about your name, when people hear your name, right? Your influence, the impact can grow and expand. That's why that's a significant thought. Every contribution that has ever come into this world comes through a human. Number two, when people grow personally, spiritually, professionally, relationally, whatever, when they grow in their leadership, spheres of influences are impacted. See, we all have a sphere of influence. Everybody does. If you're married, you got an influence with your spouse. If you have children, you got an influence within your family. If you're a department head leader in your church or in your business, you have an influence with a team. See, we all have influence. If you're a pastor, you have an influence in your church, possibly even in the community. If you're a professional leader, you could have an influence in the professional environment, in the community that you service, in the sphere of influence that you service. See, we have an influence. And because we have a sphere of influence, we've got to allow ourselves to grow, to deepen the impact, because we all have a sphere of influence, which means if I don't, but the people in that influence grow, my influence may be weakened or minimized. This is where many times churches lose attendance because another church chooses to invest in developing leaders and one doesn't, and so people transition out. Businesses, they're not as popular, don't sell as much because somebody else came in offering it a little bit different. With their marketing can be different, and all of a sudden one grows and one doesn't. See, you have a sphere of influence, but unless you're willing to grow yourself in your knowledge and in your skills as a leader, as a communicator, as a pastor, as a husband, as a wife, as a parent, unless we're willing to do that, we will not see an increase of impact, because the people in your sphere, they're going to grow too. You want to grow your influence, grow you so that you can have a larger impact in the sphere of influence that God has given to you, because all of us have an influence. It's interesting. American poet and philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson said this: "Every man is a hero and an oracle to somebody. And to that person, whatever he says has an enhanced value." Think about it. I mean, that's a true statement, but it's not always reflected positively. Because people who have a negative influence on others, all of a sudden they transfer that negative perspective, that negative thought that causes those people to go down a course that, again, embraces something that is unhealthy, negative, sinful, all right? Here is where different people pockets in a community are penetrated and effective. As a Christian, as a leader, we need to grow our influence because we want to impact those people. Especially if there's a negative influence or an unhealthy one, we want to exchange that with a positive one. So we've got to be able to penetrate that community. And in order to do that, I've got to be willing to grow beyond where I'm at. Number three, when you enlarge your sphere of influence, you enhance your value, both to life and to the community. See, your influence rises. This is where you begin to impact the thoughts and behavior patterns of other people, and they begin to change for the better. I love being in positions where, and I talked to a pastor yesterday who called me. And when I shared with them, love to minister in the church. I truly enjoy that. I love sharing things that help rally people together with the vision that God has given that church. But what I really like to do when I get into a church is do leadership workshops, whether they're paid, staff, volunteer. I love to be able to do that and have that. And they said, wow, that's interesting. Because here's what I find. Many pastors, they may call it a leadership meeting, and that means leaders gather, but they don't share things that sharpen their leadership skills, that enlarge their heart to know what are essentials that are needed for leaders to be effective. See, I like to do that, and when I do, I'm amazed at the comments that I get back. How fast can you come? I remember going to this one church, and the pastor thought we might have 10 or 12 people for leadership because we really don't do that much here in the church. So I don't want you to be disappointed. And I said, that's cool. So he mentioned it, and over almost 30 people showed up. He was shocked. So he said, come back again. I want you to speak in the church because the church loved it, but I'd love to do a leadership. I was shocked at how many people came. I said, good, let's do it again. And we'll pick up where we left off and just expand on that. He had almost 60 in the second one. Well, I'm saying people want to grow. They want to learn. And the reason that we share some of those is because it does impact their thoughts and behavior patterns, which causes people to lead more lovingly, to lead more directionally, to lead more courageously, see? And that helps your church. That'll help your business. It'll help your ministry. This is also, when we do that, it's the place where we mature people. We mature their character. We mature in their integrity, in our integrity, because we're being further developed. So let me close with this today. Here are some primary observations that I want to give you about growth. Primary observations. Number one, growth is a choice. You got to make it. It doesn't just happen by happenstance or because, we just meander into it. No, we don't. You need to make room for growth. Interesting. In 1895, a proposal came before the Congress of the United States, the United States Patent Office, and it says that they were saying, that the U.S. Patent Office should be closed because all great inventions have already been discovered. You see, some people treat their growth the same way. They're not willing to make room for it. You can always grow. An example, look at the addition that people make to their house. They get more stuff, they have more children, and what happens? They need more room. So you got to choose. If you don't, you're going to congest it, and it's going to create some problems. Either you got to make room to that house, or you're going to have to buy a bigger house. See, you're going to have to choose to do something to expand the living quarters, and that is a project that needs to be done. If you don't design your own growth plan, I'm telling you, the chances are that you'll fall into somebody else's plan, and it may not bring you growth. It may induce frustration. And guess what? They'll have a plan for you. And that's what Jim Rhodes says. If you don't have a plan for yourself, others, they'll have a plan for you, right? You want to be careful about that. You want to be careful. Number two, growth is not automatic. It's a process. In other words, it's a journey that you're going to have to travel. You're like David, I will run the course. I'm on a journey. I'm going to go down the road. I need to travel it. Growth doesn't happen just because you desire it. Growth doesn't happen just because you pray for it. And again, desire it and pray for it. Those are components. But it doesn't just happen because of that. There's something that is involved in it. It's called a process, and that's what we're going to talk about. What is that process that Jesus Christ gave us that assured us if we would do it, you could grow in anything you desire if you understand this amazing mystery of the kingdom that he revealed about growth, about progress. See, to go somewhere that you've never been before. Let's say you're at a level 5 and you want to grow to a level 8. If you've never been there before, it's going to take you on the journey or on a road that you haven't traveled before. You need that clear direction, and you need to be open to take the journey. Make the steps. Do the steps. Don't quit. Don't give up. Because weeds will grow if you just leave it to chance or neglect. If you neglect growth, you're going to have weeds grow, and what's going to happen? You're going to lose the fruit. See, fruit grows by choice and design. Again, let's go back to that house example. It doesn't happen by itself. Just because you could sit in your house and say, I desire to grow. I want it to grow. You could talk about it. You could even argue about it. But it doesn't happen until somebody actually takes the steps to put a process in place to be able to grow more room, so that the kids who have more stuff, or we got more furniture, or whatever it is able to have a home, is able to have a place where we can actually use it. See, a building plan is necessary because it charts out a process that needs to be set up, created, and built to provide what is needed, and that's the growth. Number 3, growth requires change. I know some folks, they don't like that. Growth is going to require some adjustment. Flexibility, adaptability, it will. Parking meters and parking lots are a great reminder to us that we lose money standing still. You paid for it, it's sitting there for a couple hours, and it just came out of your pocket and it's just sitting there. I get it, it's a convenience, but standing still is going to cost you. And I need you to know, If we stand still as a leader while the people around us grow, if we stand still as a business professional and we're not growing our vision, not growing our leadership skills, I'm assuring you right now, you're going to see from that neglect, you're going to lose some. You're going to lose money, you're going to lose personnel, you're going to lose opportunity, you're going to lose a harvest. It's going to happen. See, it will move you, meaning when you change, when you're willing to adapt and be more flexible, it's going to move you from the familiar, what you know right now, what your security blanket may be. It's going to move you from the familiar and grow you as it moves you into an unfamiliar place. But that's what faith is all about. That's what investment's all about. You take it and you grow it, you step into it, and you see the actual growth occur in your life. House addition, again, same way. While it's an inconvenience for a season, if you're building an addition or you're looking for a larger home, I get it. It's an inconvenience, but it's only inconvenient for a season. If you go through the process, it will reward you with the fruit that you're looking for. Always remember this. The largest room in the world is room for improvement. And number 4, change is the price for progress. If you're unwilling to change, you won't progress. And remember we said, what's growth? Growth is progress in life, progress in my leadership skills, progress in my marriage, progress in my church growth, progress in my communication skills, my preaching skills. See, progress. All change may not represent progress. But here's the truth. Without change, there can be no progress at all. Again, we use the house example. Let me go back to that. There is a price tag for the quality of work that's going to be needed to either expand or you may have to purchase another house, right? There's a price tag to that. You got to be willing to adjust and pay the price. That's why it's called home improvement. It is a home improvement, but it's going to cost you something. But again, it rewards you with the fruitfulness that you need, the growth that you need to provide the environment that you need for the kind of life that is required and that you want. See, it's up to us to add that value to our home. We got to choose to do it, but not without a price. Remember that. One of my mentors, Bob Gass, used to say this to me regularly. Men determine their habits, and the habits will determine their future. What habits are you willing to determine today to grow? Because they will determine your future. You're going to have to move from the familiar to the unfamiliar and take that journey that God has put out in front of you. And that's why I'm taking time to cover these, even just laying some foundational truths, because you need to be aware of them. Next time we're together, we're going to talk about Jesus' principle of growth, the law of progress. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, do this. Share it with another pastor, ministry leader, business leader, somebody that desires to grow. You could even go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. There's many other videos on there. Or if you're just seeing this for the first time and saying, hey, this is pretty cool, somebody sent it to me, you could actually get this in your email inbox if you go to marrythevision.com, and you'll see there'll be a pop-up. Sign up for it, and it comes free, no cost to it. We give it to you to invest in you because I've said I make a commitment to help you in your growth. I am committed to your ministry development, your ministry success, your growth in your relationship with Jesus Christ. So until next week, this is Ron Jutze, again saying, I am committed to your ministry success, to your business success, the one that Christ has given to you. Thank you for watching this video. Please take the time, browse other videos on our Marry the Vision YouTube channel. You can help us by subscribing, liking, leaving a comment, and sharing a video. Continue to pursue Jesus